But for the most part, what we see in our diets and our foods that are available, these are unnatural. These are the kind that are created in a lab, and when they were first developed, we thought these are going to be great. They make our food last longer, and we actually thought they were going to be healthier than saturated fat. Over time, we realized that trans fats actually raise our blood cholesterol, and it increases our risk of heart attack or stroke. In general, that's what this image is describing. When we have a poor quality diet, these are the consequences that you can see here. We have reduced microbial diversity. We are more likely to get infections. We have inflammation. Our gut is very unhappy when we have a poor diet. We don't have a good mucus layer, which we talked about earlier, and our intestine lining is more permeable. When we have a healthy diet that includes more of those foods that I was just talking about, when we have more fruits, vegetables, fiber, plant proteins, and the monounsaturated fats, the polyunsaturated fats, we are going to have a better diverse microbiome. Our colon is going to be more resistant to infections and changes. We have a better immune system so that it can handle anything that comes its way. Our mucus layer is very healthy and happy. And we are producing some more of these compounds, those short-chain fatty acids that I mentioned before. So how can we change the way that we eat to improve the microbiome? What we found is that with the carbohydrates in our diet, when we have more complex carbohydrates, it increases the diversity of the microbiome. This is because the favorite thing for our microbiome to eat are carbohydrates. So as carbohydrates are fermented, digested, and broken down, they produce these metabolically active compounds. Some of those compounds feed the cells in our gut to keep them healthy, and then others travel to other parts of our body. When we have a diet that's high in simple carbohydrates, so things like white bread, cereals, like American cereals, the sweet ones, those tend to promote inflammation, and they contribute to metabolic dysfunction. So someone who has a simple carbohydrate diet has more insulin resistance. Their blood sugar might be higher. We've also seen that diets that are higher in fiber, higher in complex carbohydrates, really help to decrease the risk of colon cancer, breast cancer, liver cancer, and I don't think there's anybody who doesn't want to have a reduced risk of cancer. So that's pretty great. Okay, proteins and our gut microbiome. When our microbiome digests the proteins that we eat, we produce those short-chain fatty acids that I mentioned before. Those byproducts move around our body and help us produce other hormones and other compounds that allow our body to function at its best. However, when we have a diet that is high in protein, above that 10 to 15%, we're going to see potential reduction in the diversity of our microbiome. So we could be causing dysbiosis. We could be putting ourselves more at risk for these different conditions. When we have a diet that is a little bit more balanced with animal proteins and plant proteins, we have actually a better diversity of our microbiome. So if someone was asking me how they could improve their microbiome, and I knew that they were eating a lot of protein from animals, one of the things I would suggest is, how can we reduce the protein from animals and increase it from these other sources? As I mentioned before, a lot of the research has been done on animal studies. So while we might not see the exact same response in a human that we saw in research with rats and mice, we still know that it makes a good difference. Okay, fats. When we have a diet that is high in fat, we produce a lot of compounds through that digestion that reduce our microbiome, kills off the good bacteria. So what we want to do is make sure that we have a